What's up? 33 degrees here at 7,500 feet. I'm drinking water. Not really drinking water. I'm metaphorically drinking water. So I'm out here getting it in, right? And that's part of drinking water in the Rewired Experience. So I recorded this episode about 3 months ago, which is the second installment to what we call Phase Line Alpha, or Step 2 in the Rewired Experience. So it's all about taking care of your body, what you're taking in your ears, what you're taking into your mind, your heart, your soul, the people you're surrounding yourself, and how that affects you in getting out of the suck. So with that said, here's the second episode of the Rewired Experience Framework. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Rewired Experience Podcast. If you missed episode 1, I'd encourage you to go back, check out episode 1 where we talked about take a knee as a concept and a way to just grab that different perspective, to change your way of thinking, to change the way you're looking at a problem when you're deep in the suck and you just can't perceive a way out, right? You're not making the best decisions. Maybe you are making decisions based on what you think you see, and that's not actually what's there, right? And so when you're deep in the suck, the best thing you can do is take a knee, change that perspective, and those tough moments that cloud your vision, knock you off track. How can you kind of handle that situation? And that comes from the story of my sergeant in Leader Forge when I was in infantry officer training. And when he told me, when I had made a critical error in the training problem that we were addressing in that mission, he said to me, take a knee, drink water, reshoot your azimuth and Charlie Mike. So what I want to talk about today in this episode is that next piece. We're going to talk about that drink water piece. Okay. And so it's not literally drink water. Like, water's great. Like, we want to drink water. The metaphor of it is, for me, more powerful. And I knew instinctively he meant more than just drink some water, Kyle, you're thirsty. That's not what he was saying. What he's saying is take care of yourself so you can take care of others. You've got to get your mind right so that you can lead this team into a mission. And for me, applying that to the rest of life, right? If you look at what is water, water is the purest form of nourishment that you can get. You know, you can only go days without water. You can go weeks without food. A lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. And this is a trick that our mind plays on us. And for me, that's the powerful piece, right? The real lesson here is when you're talking about drinking water and you're talking about taking in that purest form of nourishment, right? For example, let's look at this. This is a great way to think about it. Whatever you're listening to, whatever you're taking in, it could be through your mouth. It could be food. We can address that too. But what are you looking at? What are you listening to? How's that affecting your heart? How's that affecting your perspective? Because you're in the suck. And if you're not taking in things that are going to actually help you get out of the suck, then they're a waste of your time, right? So many people right now, they consume nothing but negative news stuff about politics. We're in an election year, right? And so it's this constant barrage of negativity about one side or the other side. And how is that serving you in the suck? How is that information building you up? How is that information going to get you through where you are right now? It's not. Nobody's coming. That's one of the things in the military we used to say, right? 30 seconds out, nobody's coming. What are you going to do? 30 seconds out, nobody's coming. How are you going to handle the problem? Right? So basically what we meant by that is your air cover or your air assets. So your helicopters, your fighter jets, your bombers, they're 30 seconds out. You're pinned down. You still got 30 seconds. What are you going to do? You can't just lay there and wait for them to get there. You can't just lay there and wait, right, for help. So why are you taking in this information that's not going to give you any answers? Right? It's not going to bring you any relief, I promise you. So after you take a knee and you realize you're in the suck, It's time to start drinking water because everything you take in through your eyes, through your ears, through your mouth, it matters right now. This is when it matters the most. And if you can't take in some pure things, it's just going to increase the fog. You're going to be right back in the prison of your perspective. Okay, so think about this, what you take in your ears. Again, what we watch, right? The news, right? Are you looking at positive stuff on social media? Are you seeing negative stuff on your feed all the time, right? That stuff's controlled for a reason. Let's just be real, right? It's capitalizing on fear. Somebody's making money on your fear, I promise you. So what about what you're listening to? Things you're listening to? Are you listening to pop music, rap music, country music? It all talks about, I guarantee you, every single genre that I just named in some way circles back to, let's get drunk to deal with our problems. Then we're right back to they're telling you to put something other than the purest form in your mouth. That takes me right back to the next thing. How's your nutrition? There's so many. I walk down the grocery store aisle now, and all I see is poison. Like literally, all I see is poison. Again, somebody's making money on highly subsidized poisons that we're putting in our body. Right? What are you listening to? What are you looking at? What are you putting in your mouth? What are you receiving with your heart? How's your soul, man? How is your soul? What are the people around you saying? Are they building you up? You're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Love that. Love that. But here's the thing. Not only how are those people building up, but all those things, how are they building you up? But how are those things that you're taking in serving you, period? Whether it's listening to people in your circle of influence, things you're putting in your mouth, the things that you're looking at, the things that you're listening to, how are they getting you out of the suck? That's what I want to know. Because my guess is most people, they are not. Here's a beautiful quote from a business philosopher. His name's Jim Rohn. And one of the things he says is that a formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. The things that come from institutions, right? Not to say that we don't need some of those things, but where the real growth occurs is your own seeking of self-education, enlightening yourself through action, changing your perspective, drinking water, take a knee, drink water. What's your water? What's your water? If you're a believer, me, I'm a Christ follower, right? That's my water. That is my water. There's a lot of other things that I take in. There is, and they're all positive and in alignment with that, right? So whatever your worldview is, I would encourage you to find positive things that are in alignment with that. That's my worldview. But it's possible for you to find positive influences regardless of what your worldview is, whether you are a person of faith or not, or maybe your, belief doesn't necessarily align with mine. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to preach at you in the sense that I don't want you to share my worldview because you don't necessarily need to change what you're taking in. Let's put it that way. Some people might say it'll lead you to that, right? But here's the thing. You got to be responsible for what you're taking in. You got to be aware all the time. I can't remember who said it, but one of my business coaches said, hey man, I go to whatever car he drove, like Ford. I go to Ford University because he's constantly listening to audiobooks and podcasts and things that were nourishing him, whether it was spiritually, whether it was mindset, all those things that these positive influences and the people he surrounded himself with. One of the best things in terms of advice that I was ever given. What you might even notice happening as these some of these things play on a loop in your subconscious is why what you consume matters so much, right? And it's not just about what tastes or feels good in the moment. It's going to be about what's nourishing you long term. It's the same concept again as like drinking water versus drinking soda, right? Eating potato chips versus eating a balanced meal with a protein and some vegetables, things of that nature. It cleanses you. The soda tastes great in the moment, but what it does to you long term, it's not worth it. And this is the same thing that's happening to your brain and the same thing that's happening to your soul and your heart as you take in these unclean forms of nourishment. You're trying to nourish yourself with these things that are not meant for nourishing you. They're meant to manipulate you. And that's going to keep you in the fog of the suck. It's going to keep you right in the prison that you're trapped in based on your own limiting beliefs, based on whatever is overcoming you in the moment of being in the suck. It's not going to get you out of it. It's going to keep you right there. It's almost like it's designed to do that, right? Kind of crazy. Almost like it's all designed to do that. So when you're in the suck and life's hard, you're exhausted, you feel off course, you got to be extra mindful of what you're taking in. And this is the drink water part, guys. It's just, to me, what this instructor said to me and the way that I've applied it throughout my life, right? And it's another play on something else. And I realize now what he was doing. He was talking about something called the OODA loop. And I didn't even want to say it in this episode, but I said it anyway. It's observe, orient, decide, and act, right? That's really what he was telling me in a way that he didn't have to say OODA loop, because I know a lot of operators at different levels, we get so tired of hearing OODA, right? Like, it's a great concept, but we just get so tired of hearing it because we hear it so dang much in our training. But that's what he was telling me. Take a knee, observe. That was the observation phase. The orient phase was drink water. So how are you orienting yourself right now? You're in the orientation phase. How are you orienting yourself? It's going to be by what you're taking in, because the information is going to shape the next step. The next step is determining your cardinal direction, right? So we've talked about all these things that you're taking in. What's going to be physical, mental, spiritual. And as a leader, whether it's for your family, your business, your team, you need to be taking in what's pure and clean. When you're in the suck, the temptation is to take in whatever's easy. But what's easy isn't going to get you to the destination that you desire. Nothing worth having is ever easy. Nothing worth achieving is ever easy. Now, some things are simple, but there's a difference in simple and easy. Lots of things are simple. I know how to get abs. I know how to be able to see my abs at 50 years old. It's not easy. It's simple. I know how to do it, but it's not easy to do. Those are two very different things. But if you're constantly feeding yourself junk, if I'm feeding myself junk, I'm never going to see my abs. That's the hard part, right? Think of it as this holistic nourishment, right? A holistic approach to you getting out of the suck. This is how you're going to determine your azimuth, your cardinal direction. Which direction am I going? We're going to talk about that in the next episode, right? But right now, physically treat your food like medicine. What you eat either helps you heal and grow, or it keeps you in the suck, period. Pay attention to what you're reading and watching. Is it inspiring you to be better, or is it keeping you in a loop of negativity? Is it keeping you in the suck? If your honest answer to that right now is it's keeping me in the suck, Kyle, then stop listening to it. Why do you need it? Why do you need to dwell on that stuff? You're going to get plenty of the world. Trust me, one way or another, you're going to get plenty of the world. You don't need to spend extra time looking. And that brings me to your spiritual health. What are you listening to? Are the songs and podcasts, the conversations you're engaging in, are they bringing positive and healthy systems or thoughts to your mind, to your daily actions? Are they keeping you stuck in harmful patterns? Which one? If you're listening to a song with lyrics about self-destruction and partying away your problems or being apathetic, then that's the mantra that you're enforcing. That's what you're hearing every day. It's playing on a loop inside your head. So what I'd like to do for you now, right now, let's start talking about take a knee. Drink water. Reshoot your azimuth and Charlie Mike. That's what I want you playing in your head. And when it's sucking, it's time to take a knee. Change your perspective. Start to look at things a different way. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. And then let's redetermine that cardinal direction so that we know where we're headed. Then we're going to Charlie Mike, right? That's all about action. I can't wait to get to that one. Actually, the next episode next week it's my favorite. It's the one that I don't say out often, right? Because I usually I summarize it and I'm going to say, take a knee, drink water, Charlie Mike. And if that's all you get, that's great. Take a knee, drink water, Charlie Mike. But man, that one, most people don't even know what an azimuth is. And that's why I don't say it that way. But an azimuth is a cardinal direction. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in the next episode, but that's what it is. It's a cardinal direction. Reshoot that azimuth. And this is a part of this system that's going to make sure you're on track to your goal. So we're going to talk a little bit about goals. We're going to talk a little bit about determining those goals. We're going to talk about goal fatigue a little bit. So super excited about next week's episode. And I want to do just a kind of a recap real quick with you guys. Who knows, maybe if you have a chance to sit down and take some notes, you can really support me if you like this podcast or follow this podcast. Turn on your notification bell, leave me a comment or a review, and it helps tremendously. It's going to help tremendously. But man, if you like it, if it's bringing value, leave me a comment because that just means a lot to me. It keeps me going. It's going to keep me dropping this content. It's going to keep me rolling. So let's just recap real quick on, of course, take a knee is the observation phase. When you're in the suck, we're going to change our perspective, right? Take a knee physically, metaphorically, physically, you're changing your perspective. You're getting a little bit lower so you can see the lay of the land, so to speak, right? We're going to do that metaphorically. We're going to do that in a broader picture. Again, stepping into drink water and the nourishment, it's what you listen to, what you take in to any part of your body, whether it be through your mouth, through your eyes, through your ears, into your heart and soul. What are you taking in that you're listening to mantras over and over and over again that are not serving you? Water is the cleanest, holistic nourishment that we can get, like in its purest form. And one other thing I'll touch on is sometimes people are out there making our water not so pure. And so you got to be real careful about what you're taking in too. So guys, that kind of wraps up episode 2, drink water and the Rewired Experience. Man, I'm super, super excited to be doing this with you guys. I really look forward to making this content, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. So, man, take a knee, drink water, and Charlie Mike, let's roll into the next week strong.